We read in the life of Vishwamitra Muni, such a great, powerful yogi that he was able to sit in meditation in the winter in the peaks of the Himalayas, breaking ice and keeping his body up to his neck in the ice for 6 months at a time. Sometimes we're afraid of a cold bath, which lasts about 15 or 20 seconds. He spent 6 months in ice without being disturbed. Such was his power. But by the power of the illusory energy, just the tinkle of the ankle bells of Menaka was able to bewilder his mind and cast him deeply into the abyss of material sense enjoyment. But it is described that Srila Haridas Thakur, even the personification of Maya with all of her potencies, came before him to try to dissuade him from his vows. But because with great humility he was taking shelter of Krishna through his name, ultimately Maya became his disciple. Ultimately she surrendered to him. So the conclusion is that a devotee of the Lord understands that it is only by the power of God, it is only by the power of Krishna that we can do anything. It is only by the power of Krishna that we can be protected. And therefore a devotee with all humility is always seeking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And therefore such a devotee is never vanquished by the material energy. But those foolish materialistic people, and even those less intelligent spiritualists, who are dependent on their own powers, on their own abilities, on their own opulence, they are birth after birth after birth frustrated by the inflictions of the modes of material nature. The greatest, most powerful materialistic heroes in the world throughout history, where are they now? They have all succumbed to death. They have all succumbed to old age. They have all been defeated. Material nature defeats everyone. And this is the essential principle in the 11th chapter of the Gita, where Krishna manifests his universal form to show that I am devouring everyone. I am consuming everyone. In my form of time, everyone is completely under my control and nobody can escape it for even a second. And the greatest illusion is to think that we have escaped it. The difference between the sura or the asura, the demoniac and the devotee, is simply this. The universal form of God, he showed that he is devouring every living being, from the greatest, most powerful heroes to the insignificant insects in his form of time. The devotee accepts it. The devotee admits it. Yes, Krishna, you are in control. You have created, you are maintaining, you will annihilate. I surrender to you. Srila Prabhupada used the example that a cat keeps a rat in her mouth, holding it with her teeth. And the rat, when she looks upon that cat in great fear, in horror, the rat is seeing this cat as death personified. And that same cat is holding her kitten with her same teeth, with her same mouth. And the kitten sees the cat as the most protective, loving mother. What is the difference? It is a difference of perception. Because the rat is trying to act independent of the will of the cat. What is that saying? When the cat is away, the rats will play. Because the rat has a separate interest, trying to enjoy separate, therefore sees that cat as death personified and ultimately is killed by that cat. But the kitten, because the kitten has learned to take shelter, to surrender to the cat, the same cat appears to the kitten as the most loved, blessed, protective mother. So similarly, this human society is called a rat race. What does rat race mean? It means when the cat is away, the mice and rats will play. We're thinking there is no God. We're thinking God is not in control. Therefore, God's either he doesn't exist or he's somewhere else. And therefore, we're all doing our own thing. We're all trying to make our own arrangements, our own grand plans for material enjoyment, for progress in civilization. And therefore, when death comes, we view death as the most cruel, terrible cheater, taking everything away. Krishna says, I am death personified. But for a devotee, because a devotee is conscious that I can do nothing without Krishna. Krishna is everything. I can only be his servant. Let me just serve his will. And whatever the result is, we are not attached to the results of our activities. We understand the result is in the control of Krishna. This is the teaching of Gita. A devotee simply does his service for the pleasure of the Lord and is not at all attached to the fruits of his action because he knows ultimately Krishna is in control. Whether I'm a success or failure, it's not in my hands, it is in God's hands. I simply have to try my best. Such a devotee who is always absorbed in such loving humility and devotional service, such a devotee understands that death is but my Lord so kindly taking me back to his eternal abode. The devotee is not afraid of death. The devotee sees Krishna in life and sees Krishna in death because the devotee has taken shelter of Krishna. My dear mind, please take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Surrender to him. Be his servant. Only in this way you will be free from fear and anxiety and frustration and suffering. But any other arrangement we try to make, be it on any various spiritual or material path, ultimately will end in frustration and anxiety unless we learn to take shelter in all humility of the service of the Lord, whoever we are. Whether we are brahmacharis, grihastas, vanaprastas, or sannyasis, we must know that we do not have the power to control our mind or senses even for a moment without the help of God, without the grace of God. Krishna's illusory energy is so powerful, even Lord Shiva, the greatest of all Vaishnavas, an expansion of the Lord himself, was completely mad after Mohini Murti, chasing after a young woman, even so intoxicated by this that Mohini Murti ran right by his own disciples, great sannyasis who were Om Namah Shivaya, performing great tapasya, giving up all forms of sensual experiences. And here the Lord that they were worshipping comes running by them, chasing after a young woman. What is this, Lord Shiva? What are you doing? We've given up all these things for you, and you're doing? They could not understand. And ultimately, Lord Shiva became so completely intoxicated by the beauty of Mohini Murti, and in the end, when finally he came back to his senses, he was not ashamed. He was proud. He was proud that my Lord is so great that if he wants to take away my intelligence and make me into a complete sense enjoyer, that's his glory. He was not ashamed, thinking, oh, I've lost my reputation. He was thinking, no, my Lord, if he wants to do like this, this is his power. I'm completely subordinate to him. So what to speak of us, our position? If Krishna wants to protect us, nothing can disturb us. And if Krishna wants to disturb us, nothing can protect us. So therefore, we simply have to try to please Krishna. A devotee has no other ambition. Doesn't want to be a great spiritualist, doesn't want to be powerful, doesn't want to attain mystic powers, doesn't want to perform tremendous tapasya. He simply wants to please Krishna. If Krishna is pleased with our humble service, nothing can harm us. And if Krishna is not pleased, then it's just a matter of time till through his illusory energy we must succumb. So therefore, this is the difference between material consciousness and spiritual consciousness. One surrenders, understanding our complete dependence on the Lord.
You were listening to Radhanath Swami on thesacredconnect.com.